Why hello. So I have been on a bit of a break for the holidays. Now that I'm back, I was thinking it would be fun to look back at all of the most talked about dolls from 2025 and have a little friendly competition. I thought I would go through Barbie, Monster High, and Bratz and pick out what I believe to be the best doll from each of those brands. I thought we would do it in a bunch of like knockout rounds. Pit two against each other until each brand is narrowed down to a single doll that I would say is the best of 2025. I think I'm gonna have fun doing it. Let's just start it off with Barbie. Barbie in general is today just not gonna be as hyped as Monster High or even Bratz. And you know, you could put that on the fact that modern Playline Barbie is an absolute travesty. It's really the stuff for the adult collectors that tends to make a splash, except for the Deluxe Style Midge doll, which actually came out at the very end of last year. But the hype for that doll was very much all through the first quarter of this year especially. That doll still sells for around $70 on eBay. Now there are a couple of exceptions here that I don't have. I didn't get the LeBron James doll. I'm not going to include that in this lineup here because I can't imagine wanting a doll that has anything to do with sports of some kind. Also, Stevie Nicks doll, I know people love that doll and there was quite a bit of hype for it. There is one doll, La Llorona, that I am going to include in this. That is the one here that I'm including that I don't have. There was a ton of hype for that doll. That doll is selling for a ridiculous amount of money currently, so we'll include that whenever we get to it. First off, let's start with the deluxe styles right here. We've got one with the Steffi sculpt and then the one with the Christie sculpt. Now, the one with the Steffi sculpt was way more hyped than the Christie one, but I would say the Christie one was the second most hyped. If I'm gonna pick one of these two, you know we're gonna give it to the one with the Steffi sculpt. Deluxe Style Midge wins the first round. She's moving on, and so are we. Next, how about the Aaliyah doll and the Black Barbie 45th anniversary? This is an interesting one. The Aaliyah doll definitely had more hype than the Black Barbie. She was actually re-released and sold out again pretty quickly. I do believe that the Black Barbie doll here is prettier. I love the skin tone. I think the sculpt is gorgeous. I do think the dress is a little boring, but that's a beautiful doll. But then we have the Aaliyah doll. That's this Y2K star that we lost tragically, and to have something like this is great for any pop culture lover. I think I'm gonna have to give it to the Aaliyah doll on this one. Yeah, this round goes to Aaliyah. Now let's do the Peaches and Cream Repro versus the Golden Dream Repro. Now I did do reviews for both of these. You can check out those videos. It wasn't even that long ago. The Golden Dream reproduction, I love the original Golden Dream Christie doll. A lot of people, especially vintage Barbie collectors, were very, very excited about the Golden Dream Christie Repro. We waited ages for it to come out, and there was a lot of hype. Everybody who collects vintage Barbie knew about that reproduction. We talked about it, and then the photos for the doll came out, and a lot of the hype seemed to just go down the drain. Now, I did give a pretty soft recommendation for the Golden Dream Christie. I've been a big defender of this doll, but I've gotta say, I don't really mind the color difference between that and the original regarding the outfit. The hair is an absolute atrocity. As you can see, I did boil wash this one's hair because I just couldn't stand it. But one thing that tipped the scales a bit further was the cape that came on her was put on upside down. And so I had to steam it to get it on the right way, and as I was fitting it back on, the stitching just came right out of it, and that pissed me off. I don't even know if I can give it an actual recommendation at this point anymore. The Peaches and Cream doll, however, the only thing that I had an issue with, and I wouldn't even say it was a real issue, was the chiffon on the dress is quite a bit stiffer than the chiffon on the original Peaches and Cream doll. So all of that being said, I'm gonna have to go with the Peaches and Cream reproduction. So moving on to some early 60s style, we had the Modern Art reproduction. I love modern art. I love my vintage modern art up there. I don't have the full set of modern art, so I thought, well, it'd be cool to get this. And you know, I love a Silkstone. And I think that she is absolutely beautiful, except the hair was just off. I've seen a lot of them that are way more messy than mine. There are quite a bit of flyaways, and the styling of this bubble cut is not at all the way it was styled originally as a vintage doll. I did see that Bill was saying on Instagram that he did not have control over the way that this hair was manufactured for this doll. That may seem like a small thing, but this was an expensive doll, and I don't want to spend a lot of money on a doll that I then have to restyle. So there you have that. And we are pitting this against the 12 Days of Halloween doll. Also an early 60s style right here. And this we got instead of the 12 Days of Christmas this year. And I was actually pretty happy about that. I love seeing all these outfits designed in this early 60s style. We don't get that kind of stuff very often. And the dolls are absolutely gorgeous. I did complain a little bit about the fact that they're using Velcro on the back of these dresses, and I wasn't thrilled that there was no hemline on the bottom of this witch gown, but at the same time, that's sort of the thing. It's like a costume and it's faux tattered at the bottom. And yeah, it's expensive, but I love the packaging on this. I love the little accessories that came with it. Overall, I think that the 12 Days of Halloween doll is just a lot more fun. I'm gonna give it to 12 Days of Halloween. They're moving to the next round. We are pitting the Styled by Design doll from Bill Greening against a doll that I missed out on and I just don't have, and I refuse to pay $350 for, and that is the La Llorona Day of the Dead doll. Probably one of my favorite Day of the Dead dolls. I do like the hands on that doll. I like all of the lace. I mean, there's miles of lace on that thing. The paint job is very beautiful. All in all, it's a fantastic Day of the Dead doll, and it was very expensive. The secondary market price for that is absurd, which tends to always happen with those special, like, premium Day of the Dead dolls. I don't think that that doll is worth $350 to me. That being said, I do regret that I didn't get it. This is where personal taste is going to come into play, especially because Bill Greening's Styled by Design doll is so good. You guys know I love mod Barbie. And this is, you know, slightly modernized a bit, but let's be real, this would fit right on the mod shelf. You get this big fuchsia coat, awesome geometric design with the green and blue and pink here. It's a little bit reminiscent of Totally Hair Barbie, which also had a lot of mod style happening. This is another I haven't talked about on this channel. If you missed out on her, she is going for significantly less than the other one. It's around $200 on eBay. Such an amazing doll. She's gonna win this round. Yeah, this is going to the Styled by Design Bill Greening. Okay, we're down to our 5 Barbie finalists here. And first up, we're gonna match these two together. I would, weirdly enough, say that this Midge doll was the most hyped Barbie of the year. The Aaliyah doll, like I was saying before, very significant as far as pop culture goes. And that's why I'm gonna go with the Aaliyah doll. I'm sorry, I know so many people love the Deluxe Style Midge doll, and she's cool, but I'm going with the Aaliyah doll. Sorry, I'm sorry. Now let's do just the battle of the Bill Greening dolls here. Okay, they're all great, but since we're down to an odd number, we're gonna do all 3 together. And if I have to pick one, I love early 60s stuff. You know, we've had a Peaches and Cream repro before. Maybe it's not that big of a deal. We haven't had the black version before. You guys, I'm going with this. I'm going with the Bill Greening doll. We never get like new mod looks like that coming out. And she's got the steppy sculpt. Okay, we're going with this one. Okay. I'm actually very surprised that this is the final two. You know, I know that there are some other Barbies that came out. There is that new version of Day to Night. I gotta say, I know that people really like that one, but that would not make it to my top. Anyway, I'm sticking with these two as the final two. You guys, this is it. This is it. The Bill Greening, Styled by Design. This is my top Barbie release of the year. Wow, that feels like a big statement. For some reason, I don't know, that feels like a big statement to make. I know a lot of you will disagree with me. I'm sure you will. I know a lot of you will say that, Jack, you moron, you've missed a lot of hyped Barbies. And I don't know, maybe I have, but I'm going with this one. This is my top Barbie pick of the year. Now let's move on to Bratz. There were a lot of Bratz dolls that came out this year, a lot of Playline dolls, and you know, anytime there's a new Bratz line, there's a lot of hype. Bratziez are actually one of the hottest toys in general. They're just selling out right and left. Bratzie is just like a Bratz baby. It's just the same face, same size body, only, you know, they're plushy, their little limbs twist, and you know, they've got the little keychain here. Is there anything more ridiculous than a baby with a full face of makeup? I didn't really think it was fair to match up a Bratzie against a full-on fashion doll like the other Bratz here. So I stopped by Pop Mart and I bought a damn Labubu. I've never had one of these before. I'm about to open it. This is just not my thing. I have these Bratzies because I like Bratz dolls, and I think that these are cute, and I do get in on hype. As you can tell, if something is really hyped up, I kind of get the FOMO thing too. None of us are immune. So I'm gonna open my Labubu right now. And in America, you know, this year was undoubtedly the summer of Labubu. And, you know, I know my buddy, James Mansfield, is all about these Labubus. I've seen him rip open so many Labubus over time. And I always kind of wondered, like, is there something about them that I'm missing? Because he's awesome and he likes them. So, okay. If you're a Labubu person, you tell me, is this, I'm assuming this is a popular one. Okay. All right. So it's purple. This one is called Luck. This is Luck. Is Luck a good one? Unlike the Bratzies, the limbs do not twist on this. It does have like little painted toenails. Yeah, it's a little monster. Stuffed animal on a keychain. I can't pretend to be into this. I think the whole like blind box thing, I get it. It's sort of like, it's gambling or something. I get it. I don't know, you guys. I'm gonna go with the Bratzies. I'm sorry. Okay, so we did that. The Bratzies are gonna be in their own category here. The Bratzies will be my favorite blind box keychain item. All right, so let's move on to the two Playline Bratz dolls that I picked. The fever surrounding these two were a little bit higher than the other Playline dolls from this year, but it could just be because they made a lot more, like those Scorchin' dolls you almost always see on the shelf, the Stylin' Bratz I always see on the shelf, the Hello Kitty dolls. Now, these I always, when I go to Target, are no longer on the shelf. The price point is a little bit higher, probably because of the collab, the branding there. But I think that they're very, very cute. I'm not in love with like the jacket on Chloe here. I do think overall they could have a bit more of that cutesy, almost like kawaii look about them. But I'm comparing these to the Pixies because people were very excited to have the Pixies back, even though these look quite a bit different than the original run. I like these a lot, and you can remove the wings. They're cool. They're very cool. I think the Sasha issue with Hello Kitty, you know, there's the core 4 of these dolls. For some reason, MGA did not make a Sasha doll for this line, and it caused quite a bit of controversy. And they did make one, a prototype that is not going to be out until next year. I think that the Sasha is actually the best one. It feels pretty icky that they did that to Sasha. A lot of people think that it's because they think the darker skinned dolls don't sell as well. Just based on that alone, I'm going with the Pixies. How do you like that, MGA? Now moving on to some collector dolls here. Now 2 dolls that I don't have that came out this year were the Gentle Monster and the Jean-Paul Gaultier. You know, both of those I think are ridiculously priced. I definitely prefer the Gaultier one, even though I don't think that the dress that came with that one really works that well in that scale. If I was gonna pick one of those two, I definitely like the Gaultier one, but in the end, neither of those are going to win because I think the pricing is absurd. I'm being harder on dolls that cost more money because I should. 2 more collector dolls. We have the Bratzaversary one here and the holiday one over here. People in general, I've noticed, really love the Bratzaversary one here. I think this outfit is awesome. I really think it's cool with this like burgundy leather, the way that it's stitched up the back with the braids and this, you know, head wrap. Oh my God, the hair is just cool. The makeup's awesome. She's just so ridiculous. These platforms, it's so over the top and ridiculous looking that I'm really into it. And then there's the holiday one, which has been really divisive amongst Bratz fans. Some people really don't like it. I was kind of on the fence about this like cutout in the middle of the dress there. But then the more that I looked at it, I'm like, I don't know. Girl's like kind of serving. And I like the fur. I like the white eyebrows and this shimmer. I think that a lot of people would see that doll and think this is a very strange looking doll. But that's also pretty much why I like it. But if I have to pick one, I'm gonna have to go with the Bratzaversary. She's really taking some risks. She wins that round. Okay, now let's move to Mean Girls versus Clueless. Now, this is Mean Girls Wave 2. There were 3 dolls in this line. I know about all the drama and no one being able to get the Wave 1 when it came out and how upset it made people, but they really did a much better rollout for this line. I actually think that Wave 2 is better. People may be upset when I say that, but I think that the looks are just more elaborate, and I think that the accessories are really cool. And then Clueless, this is hard for me because I feel like I want to compare movies on some level. Like, I prefer Clueless to Mean Girls. I really like Mean Girls, the movie. I must have seen Clueless 50, 60 times in my life.
As if.
I love the packaging on both of these sets. I think that the boxes here for Clueless, you know, they're really thick and sturdy. I love how you can see inside the box and you don't have to open it like a book like these. A lot of people didn't like that Dion didn't have green eyes. You know, her eyes are kind of blue-green. And a lot of people didn't like the fire engine red hair on the Amber doll. But I think it's pretty cool. I don't know, I always saw these as more like Bratz dolls sort of cosplaying characters from movies, which is what I like about it. There was the Clueless Barbie dolls that came out, but I just gotta say, those just bore the crap out of me. If I have to pick, I don't know. I feel like I keep making excuses. You know, people didn't like that it was Amber instead of Ty in the movie, but the fact is, Amber was serving a much more vivid look in the movie, and I think that Amber is a better choice generally because, yeah, she's the mean girl, but whatever. The truth is, I really like both of these collabs, but I'm gonna pick Clueless for this round. It's going to Clueless. Okay, so we've established that the Bratziez have beat the Labubu. For me, sorry Labubu people. So Pixies versus the Bratzaversary versus the Clueless dolls. You guys, I mean, look how fun this set of Clueless dolls is. There may be some nostalgia on my part playing into this, but my top pick for Bratz this year is gonna be the Clueless dolls. You might really be angry that I'm saying that the Clueless dolls are the best of the year, but give me a break. We've all got different tastes. I'm going with the Clueless. Let's move on to Monster High. There are a few here that I'm going to cover that I didn't buy. I'm not covering like G3 Playline releases here. While they are always hyped, it can't really ever compare to the hype surrounding certain Skullector dolls. You may also be noticing that Edward is here, and we'll get into that. So let's just start out with the Real Drama re-release from this year and the Creeproductions. Now, I did not buy the Creeproductions. I didn't like them as much as the Creeproductions that came out just before that. The Real Dramas, you know, these have come out before, but I've got to say, I really like the Real Dramas. This is just the original, you know, core 5 in their first looks, and they're in grayscale. And I really like how these look on a shelf. I think this is just another thing that's a matter of taste. I know that those Creeproductions are going for a lot more money than Real Drama. I know that the hype for them was definitely bigger, but I'm just gonna have to pick the Real Drama, while also acknowledging that those Creeproductions are awesome, but I'm going with these because aesthetically, I just find them more pleasing. Now, another 2 Skullector dolls that I don't have, but there was definitely hype around these 2, were Corpse Bride and Twyla Sweet Screams. The Twyla doll, you know, I've never been a big fan of like chunky plastic accessories. She's got the ice cream cone melting, but I don't know, that one I give a pass because I think it's cool. And I do think that the packaging on that Twyla doll is absolutely awesome. When I saw pictures of people who had that packaging, I thought, oh damn, that looks really cool. Even though I like the IP of the Corpse Bride a bit more, I like a lot of like the Tim Burton stuff, and so I'm gonna go with the Corpse Bride, and I think that that doll is pretty cool, and that's probably the one I kind of regret not getting, since I have, you know, quite a few Skullector dolls. I feel like Monster High fans are gonna be angry that I would pick the Corpse Bride over the Twyla doll as well, but I'm just gonna go ahead and pick the Corpse Bride. Now we will go to Edward Scissorhands Skullector. I would say that there was a lot of hype for the Edward Scissorhands doll up until her stock photos came out. Then the hype died very, very quickly, and it turned into a whole lot of hate. I did get it just because, you know, I'm the kind of person who sees kittens in dumpsters and I bring them home. And so I brought Edwina here home and I said, you know, stay in the box, girl. You can stay in the box. The hair is gross, and actually up close, it's really like flat. I don't like the headpiece. I really don't like those object heels on her. I get it, yes, they're from the movie, but it doesn't look good. But let's compare that to Barbie. That's the battle here. As you can see, I've been like crafting feather boas recently, and I added that to my Solo in the Spotlight. You guys, she's pretty fly, right? She's cute. That's cute. You guys know I'm picking the Barbie one. I mean, obviously, Barbie is my life. I think the makeup is awesome. I did make a video about the Barbie one, which you can go watch. I'm going with Barbie, and I think most Monster High people would actually agree with me on that take. So yes, Barbie wins that round. Which brings us to the final round. And these were absolutely the 2 most hyped Monster High releases of the year. It is the Alien Xenomorph doll and the Grady Twins re-release. The drops on these 2. Now, obviously, I managed to score them. Multiple chances you got to get these, and they just sold out instantly. First, let's talk about the Grady Twins. It's very cool. It's interesting to pick The Shining. There's not a lot of looks from The Shining to really play off of. I do think that like a Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall thing might have been cooler, But I do like this like twin look, and they're just barely different in their expressions and stuff. The dresses are totally cute. You know, this is one of those dolls that, I don't know. I don't know if it was the fact that the original releases became so valuable on the secondary market as to why these sold out so fast. I get it. I mean, obviously, I'm into them too. I got them. But then we have the Alien release. You know, this is the kind of collab that I think Monster High fans have been waiting for a long time. They just went full xenomorph here. I mean, this is kind of a action figure meets fashion doll. She really does look like a total cross between the xenomorph and a Monster High doll. It's a shame, I think, that with the packaging there isn't like a brighter background so you can see the doll a bit better in there. There's nothing that I can say about the xenomorph doll that every Monster High collector hasn't already said. So I'm just gonna go ahead and give it to that one. The xenomorph wins that round. Okay, our last 2 rounds. I'm gonna go ahead and match up the Real Drama set of 5 with the Corpse Bride doll. And that's not exactly a fair matchup, but in the end, we're gonna have to wind down to just one doll. I do like the Corpse Bride doll, but I'm harder on that one because it costs so much more money than a Real Drama doll. I think they make for a cool set to add to any shelf, so I'm just gonna go ahead and give it to Real Drama on that round. As far as matching up the Barbie versus the Xenomorph, I think you could tell from my previous comments that I think the Xenomorph is a pretty special doll. I love Barbie, but they just did a lot with the Xenomorph doll. I wish that they had more wild releases like this. And so the Alien Skullector wins that round. Bringing us down to the final matchup, I like the Real Drama dolls more than a lot of Monster High fans, and these are very popular amongst Monster High fans. But I don't know, I think for some reason I gravitate toward this set more than a lot of other Monster High releases. I like the G1 look. I think that these are all just super cool. Compared to this, what can I say? I think you all saw this coming. The Xenomorph doll takes it for Monster High. This, in my opinion, was the best Monster High doll of the year. These are my top picks of the year. I'm scared that a lot of people are gonna be angry that I've gone with the Clueless for Bratz. We've all got different taste. I think that this was a great year for dolls in general. Let me know which ones you guys bought, which ones I've missed. I'm sure there are some. I feel like this video is running pretty long. The viewer collection videos are coming back in my next video. I still got a lot more collections to show you guys. Please like, subscribe, and comment. I hope everyone has had some very happy holidays. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.